Listen, this rarely happens, so I want to use this right now. We've got breaking news while we're recording the McKola and Rory podcast, so I think we should cover this. Arsenal have released an update on Pierre Emerick Aubameyang,
Go on.
and what they have said is, following his latest disciplinary breach last week, Pierre Emerick Aubameyang will no longer be our club captain and will not be considered for selection for Wednesday's match against West Ham United. We expect all our players, particularly our captain, to work to the rules and standards we have all set and agreed. We are fully focused on tomorrow's match. End.
Really?
For those that are listening to the audio, Rory smiled initially.
Really? Yeah. Look, I think Aubameyang is done. I think he's so done. I mean, this statement puts that to bed, really. They've stripped him of the captaincy, but they are now in big trouble because he's got 3 years left on that mega deal, hasn't he?
That's the second captain that they've changed as well. Like, had to strip the captaincy off in a row.
Who did they do before?
Xhaka.
Of course, yeah. Mate, what are they going to do with Aubameyang? Can they just leave him sitting on the bench? Because nobody is going to sign him, are they?
Newcastle?
They won't. Not for that kind of money. No, they won't. I mean, they'd be mad. They would be absolutely mad.
Do you think that's what happens in a lot of meetings around the country in terms of football? They've got players that are causing them trouble. Newcastle? Were they on him?
Yeah. But do you know what might happen as well? Arsenal may have to look for a way, because they don't want to have another Ozil situation. Arsenal will have to look for a way to offload Aubameyang. And if he brings his contract into disrepute, that could be the dream for Arsenal. Because Arsenal may be able to get out of a contract by saying you have broken the terms and conditions of your contract.
So maybe by making this decision and having something put out there in writing, in terms of if you were going to go down a legal avenue, you have then done. It's like a company giving you your verbal warning, your written warnings, and all that. It's basically doing the due diligence, isn't it?
Yeah. Aubameyang now needs to turn up early for training. He doesn't. I imagine he doesn't care whether he's selected for the first team or not. But I also imagine that he doesn't want to lose that contract because he won't get another one. I can't see him getting a club anywhere. Well, I mean, this isn't. I can't see him. He will not get anywhere near those sorts of wages ever again in his life.
No, I imagine Arsenal will have to pay part of his wages when he does
to get rid of him. Arsenal will have to pay $200,000 a week to put him out on loan.
Does this say more about the club or the player?
I think it's a very sad reflection on both. I don't think we can hold Arsenal accountable for the imbecilic nature of Aubameyang, though. Aubameyang acting up and Aubameyang acting like a fool isn't the fault of Arsenal. It's not the fault of Arsenal fans. It's not the fault of Arsenal club. Arsenal, though, need to really have a look at the way that they go about their business, because nobody thought Aubameyang was worth that kind of money. No other club in the world would have offered a man of that age that amount of money for that amount of time. It was so dumb.
It was a shocking decision, and I don't think there was really any competition for him there either.
No,
was there at the time any talk about any other clubs really massively coming in?
I think this is what happens sometimes. You end up as a club bidding against yourself. Like, you're worried that someone will leave, and you end up kind of trying. You know, in a similar way to what England have done recently with Gareth Southgate. England put a bid in to keep Gareth Southgate against themselves. Who are they bidding against? Aston Villa. Yeah. Aston Villa needed a manager. Gareth Southgate and Aston Villa have a proud relationship. They didn't even want him. So who are England worried about? Why are England offering Gareth Southgate more money to keep him there? He's going nowhere. So I think it's a mess. I think the way that Arsenal are run, though, you could make a case, and I don't know whether this is true or not, but you could make a case that Arsenal are the worst run club in the world. Like, what goes on at that club? When you look at the way that they sign players, when you look at the way that they appoint managers, when you look at the way they hand out contracts, Willian, David Luiz, all because Kia Joorabchian's at the club. All because Kia Joorabchian, Willian, David Luiz own a very fashionable restaurant in Mayfair, right? London's fashionable West End, very expensive area. Restaurant called Babbo. Those three are in bed together in a business sense. They're in bed together owning a restaurant. Suddenly, he's got his two mates playing for Arsenal on massive contracts. That just reeks of insider trading and issues. And yet, It's me and you chatting about it on a podcast, Dad. Why is nobody talking about this?
Yeah, it's it's mental, isn't it? It's mental that those, and even at the time, I think Arsenal fans were kicking off about it, and I know they kick off about almost everything, but it was like we've got a Chelsea player that Chelsea don't want coming to our club, and he's probably one of the most highest paid players there, if not the highest paid.
Mhm.
The effect that has on the dressing room, the effect that has on the manager as well, having in terms of having to pick him and stuff. Is Arteta the man to turn this around?
No, nowhere near. Nowhere near. I mean, you and I rarely engage on the same team on the kickoff. And I prefer it when we're being as combative with each other as possible. I find it a more you're a very worthy opponent, and I prefer.
I didn't like how close you and Boovy were this week, though. I gotta say.
No, do you know what that is though? That's just very much my enemy's enemy is my friend. If Boovy's getting under your skin, I'm going to jump on that train. Definitely. but you and I obviously aligned. It was kind of Brian, wasn't it? It was a true Geordie debating the other way, and he was saying that Arsenal are legitimate. They are a legitimate contender, and Aubameyang and Arteta, excuse me, is doing a decent job. And you and I were visibly shocked at Brian's kind of eulogy and lionising of Arteta. And Brian made the case like valiantly, and I think Lawrence was kind of on that train as well. And you and I were totally different. But I just don't see it at all, Ed. I just don't see the Arteta thing. And I know that the facts can be fairly, the facts can be kind to Arteta. For example, you go, he won the FA Cup. He beat Chelsea. They beat Liverpool in the Charity Shield, didn't they? So that's also very impressive. They went 2 months unbeaten this season. They are currently however many points off top four. You can put all these things into a line and go, this is why he's good. But no, mate. Like, it's all very well going, they went 2 months unbeaten. But I watched their games, and their two games in that run were against Brighton and Villa. And Brighton and Palace. Sorry, Brighton and Palace, and both games Arsenal should have lost.
They were outplayed by both. I watched both of those games.
Yeah, I mean the Palace one is Vieira, wasn't it? Going back to Arsenal, that was the narrative around the game.
Lacazette scored very late on.
Lacazette last kick of the game,
and they celebrated it like mad. Look, I know it's a last minute goal. You're going to celebrate it. It's a London derby and that, but there was no intent to go and get the ball and let's go score again.
Yeah,
it was all very much.
I think that they knew that they got out of jail once. You know, when you get out of jail like that, it's like us the other day when we were playing football in that first game. We got out of jail in the first game. Yeah, points good enough here, lads.
Yeah, to be fair, I just remembered Ronaldo suing at Villarreal when we went 2-2. But that's a Champions League group game, and it's not at home. Do you know what I mean? I just felt there was a big, especially from the experienced players, you don't expect to see that. Although there's been a lot of talk, Lacazette has been one of the leading figures there in terms of with the younger players and stuff, or at least off the pitch. Is he good enough on the pitch though? I'm not sure. Who do you think's their next captain? I think they make a shocking decision, give it Ramsdale, and it makes him worse as a keeper because he's already very erratic.
I think it has to be someone like that. I can't off the top of my head. Is it?
You got Ben White.
Ben White.
You got what's the Gabriel plays next to him?
It can't be him.
Dreams could come true for him.
I think it will be Ben White or a really shocking
I hate
decision.
you ignored that, Rory.
Who's that?
I hate you ignored that Gabriel reference. It's an absolute disgrace.
Oh, mate, I did it. Do you know? Go on, remind me. What did you drop? Was it Gabriel was in Dreams? Or
I said Dreams could come true for him.
Come true. There we go. Do you know Gabriel as a name has got to be one of the most generous names for song references ever. You got that?
Yeah, it's got the best garage tune. Yeah. That's might be my favorite garage tune. You know, the garage remix to that.
Yeah, very
it's a banger. That
if you have a player called Gabriel playing for your club and you aren't getting some sort of homage to garage or Gabriel as in Dreams Can Come True, if you're not doing that, you're really missing an opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. So where were we before that?
Before we were talking
Who's the
about
captain?
UK Garage and Gabriel
who's the captain?
with a moody hairstyle, we're talking about Arsenal's captain. And
yeah.
I don't think it can be anyone aside from... I think it is Ben White.
Is it one of those like Harry Maguire ones? 50
Yeah.
million. It's my most expensive player. He's centre back. I say most expensive. They got Pepe there too. Yeah, I could see that. I think there'd be a lot of Arsenal fans saying give it Saka or Smith Rowe. I think that would be the wrong
No,
decision.
you can't
The
do
thing,
that.
I heard someone on Talk Sport yesterday, one of the lead presenters, like advocating that a lot, and I thought you're going too far with this kid, man. Do you know he's a kid, innit?
That can't be the answer. Like there is just no way that you can do that because also look to captain Arsenal, you are following in some serious footsteps, and it is an honour and it's an incredible accolade. But it's also a bit of a poison chalice at the moment. Like you want to be captain of your club, of course you do, but there's a time, and I think that there is a world in which Bukayo Saka will be Arsenal captain. I think that could happen, but I also think it could happen in about a decade.
I think a lot of people forget as well that club captains have so much more. They have so much more to do than what the normal player, like in terms of off the pitch stuff, dealing with people's families, ticketing, all those kind of things. That they're very rarely going to give it to someone like a Saka that's so young and maybe doesn't know everybody, and all those kind of things. It's weird that we don't think of the non-footballing aspects to being a captain that come with it.
Well, this is what Harry Maguire struggled with, isn't it? Like, look, he struggled with a football. Don't get me wrong. He struggled with being a footballer, but I think when you are, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Ed. But when you take on the mantle of being Manchester United captain or Arsenal captain, there is a stature and a history and an expectation that comes with it. And if you aren't that guy, and I don't think Harry Maguire is that guy, effectively you are the first person to put any problem right. Whatever the problem is, you need to be the one. If there's a problem in the dressing room, it needs to be you. If there's a problem on the pitch, it needs to be you. If there's an issue with the fans, it needs to be you. If there's an issue with the manager, it needs to be you. Harry Maguire's not that. Like, we're talking about Eric Cantona, Roy Keane here. Like, come on.
We're talking about, like, people will talk Keane versus Vieira, and now we could potentially have Maguire versus White, which says it all about where the clubs are, isn't it, really?
It's a testament.